So,
well,
it was a beauty.
It was a beaut. Just like our next guest, she's a beaut. Miami Kayte, analyst for your Sacramento Kings. Good morning. It's Jason. It's Dave. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Great.
First question before we get into the nuts and bolts here, Kayte. You had a full day off in Miami yesterday, an absolute full day off with no responsibilities whatsoever. Should you have chosen to go down that path? No crafts, no homemade dog food, no taxes, no organizing your recipes in a 3x5 card holder or whatever things you come up with. So how did you take advantage of yesterday's day off in Miami?
Well, I slept till noon because I didn't go to bed until like 4 a.m. So
wow, South Beach flu. There you go.
Yeah, no, we got to the hotel at 3.
Oh, okay.
So it was a long night. Get your bags, that kind of stuff. Made myself go to bed at 4. It took a while to fall asleep, and that's just indicative of travel. And then, I did kind of have a lazy day. Unfortunately, the spa here at the hotel is not open on Tuesday. So that was an option that was taken away. But no, I just, went out a little bit, went and got some groceries at a store and brought it back. And that was the day. Had dinner last night and then went back to bed.
So you slept in, got groceries, went to dinner, went to bed.
Yeah,
I'm just
it was very exciting.
Man, how is there not a documentary film crew following you around?
Did you find coffee? Dave was telling us you were on a quest for coffee.
Yeah,
I did. Yesterday morning, I went and got some coffee. We're in Coconut Grove. We've never stayed at this hotel before, so it's not really close to much. So it was. I was hunting some coffee yesterday.
She FaceTimed me after the show yesterday, and she was hunting coffee. And then we were arguing because she was like right by the ocean, and I wanted her to go walk over to the ocean.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not walking over there before I get my coffee.
Is that how it sounded?
That's an interpretation.
Right. So you did, but did you find the coffee shortly after we got off the phone?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. Well, I hope you've recovered from yesterday, Kayte, because you got a big game tonight. Kayte, the Heat have lost 7 in a row. You obviously know that through your thorough prep. They are a wounded, cornered animal, obviously a proud franchise with Heat culture. It even says that on one of their jerseys. How do the Kings avoid doing what they have a reputation of doing, which is being the NBA's Robitussin for ailing teams?
Wow, you are brutal.
Find the lie.
This is a little bit of a trap game because it reminds me a little bit of what happened with the Clippers when James Harden first joined their team, and they had lost several in a row. It took them a while to find their stride and kind of work it in. Terry Rozier, they're now 0-4 with him in the lineup. Obviously, we've seen Terry Rozier when he was in Charlotte already twice this season. He is a very adequate, gifted scorer. I watched their game yesterday against Phoenix, and they're struggling a bit to fit him in and all of that. And so it's a little bit scary, having lost 7 in a row. They're going to get right at some point, and so the Kings have to come in tonight and just do a really good job. This is a team that really takes away the paint in a big way, but they give up a lot of threes. So obviously the Kings a great 3-point shooting team, but we've seen when they're struggling to shoot the ball, they struggled mightily in the first half of that game in Memphis, but they were able to kind of make up for it because they've been able to dominate teams in the paint. But with the defense that Miami puts out there, it's going to be a challenge for them. So they really got to be adequate and really good at getting to the paint and then spraying for those threes. And that's a big key for tonight.
Kayte, there were some elements we talked about before when the Kings had lost 4 in a row that they were playing better basketball, just not getting the results. Now they've won 4 in a row. What are they doing better to kind of finish these games to get the W's?
Well, let's be honest, their free throw shooting has been much better. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you look at those losses, it came at a time where they had several days in the gym. And I think just getting into some practice time and getting, into a routine of where they could go and work on some things like their free throw shooting. I think that made a really big difference. But to be honest, when you look at that stretch, that last 5-game road trip where they went 3-2, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, they went 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
They went 2-3 because they lost in Philly and then they went and lost in Milwaukee and Phoenix. It could have been a 4-1 road trip. They shouldn't have lost in Milwaukee. They shouldn't have lost in Phoenix. And so, when you look at it, other than some mistakes down the stretch, they've been playing really, really good basketball. The Indiana game didn't turn out the way that they wanted. So, you're not going to play perfectly every game. And there's going to be games that, wow, you should have won that game, but you didn't. But, if you look at it, they're 4-1 over their last 5 games. So they cut the season into 5-game increments. And Indiana lost and then 4 wins in a row. That's that last 5-game increment. And they've been playing really well. So, and I think a lot of that has had to do with, I think Kevin Huerter's been really good. Obviously, Harrison Barnes has been really good. Domas and Foxy playing, at their level, which is what the expectation is every single game. But defensively, to me, they've been really, really solid. And I think that makes a big, big difference in terms of them being able to close out games. And it certainly is important on the road.
Kayte Christensen joining us. Kayte, you and I will argue a lot about what I accuse you of making excuses. And you accuse me of just being hard-headed and stupid. And, you said something during the Memphis game. I actually used it on the radio the next day. Like, I could have been upset after that Memphis game. Like, they didn't blow them out. They were playing a bunch of G Leaguers. And you said during the broadcast, and I thought it was a very, very valid point, that a lot of these players, this is their one shot, one opportunity. It's tough to scout. Like, they're hungry and they're insane out there. And if they get any sort of confidence behind them, it can be a scary situation. It's the NBA. I thought you made a really good point. It made me feel a lot better about the win. Now, coming into Miami, I agree, it is a trap game. And I hope the Kings are going into this like they're playing the finals heat. And it is a trap game, and it is scary. But JaVale McGee said after the game, he said, good teams would beat the Grizzlies. Great teams blow them out, and the starters aren't playing in the fourth quarter. Wouldn't we all like to kind of see the Kings move towards these guys are on a 7-game losing streak. You're damn straight they're going to be on an 8-game losing streak when we're done with them.
I'll be honest, I kind of disagree a little bit with JaVale. When you look at the Grizzlies, and I think that this is a problem, you have to always respect your opponents, regardless of who's playing. And when you look at the Grizzlies, prior to that game against Sacramento, they had lost the previous game in Indiana the day before and won the 3 games prior to that. And this is without all of their guys. This is with so many injuries. You're sitting here going, what the heck? And so I think the thing you have to recognize is that, they may not have a lot of their stars available, but the Grizzlies are a team that I'm telling you, you talk about heat culture with Miami. The Grizzlies have a very, very good culture in terms of defense and expectations. And they do a great job with their, their G League team of really developing the culture. And their culture, a lot of it is on the defensive end. And that team makes it hard for you. And they play incredibly hard. And I've always said this. I think that, you can't look at every team and be like, they play hard every game. That's not true. It's certainly true with the Grizzlies. So I don't look at that as, oh, you're a good team because you beat them. A great team would blow them out. Well, plenty of the previous opponents would beg to differ, right? And whether it's not taking them seriously or what, we can go down, a rabbit hole of making excuses for that. But when it comes to the NBA, an 82-game season, being on the road, all of the things that factor into it, a win is a win. And that is what matters. And so, I disagree with JaVale on kind of the afterthoughts of that win. But when you look at the Miami game, we all know who Miami is. It's, they've got Bam Adebayo, they've got Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero. They have so many weapons. The rookie Jaquez is playing so well, and then you add Terry Rozier to it. You've got Kevin Love coming off the bench. I mean, they have a lot of talent. And so, the thing that you have to do, and I mean, I have nightmares still. I think about that loss at Miami. Was it last year? When Tyler Hero hit the three at the buzzer. Like, this is a very capable team. They're playing in their home arena. They're, on a 7-game losing streak. Like, someone is going to be the team that they beat in the streak. And it's not like you're getting beat by Detroit. This is Miami. We're fully aware of who they are. They're just going through a transition phase right now with, additions to their team and all of that. So, I look at tonight's game as like, stop worrying about opponent and record, right? Or losing streak, that kind of thing. The Kings have to get to a point in my mind where it's about how they're able to execute game plans. And if they can go in, and I think they have done that really well as of late, even looking back to those losses in Phoenix and in Milwaukee. But that just shows you can have a 2-6-minute span of a game where you can lose that game, where you've dominated and executed at a high level, followed the game plan. It's about them being able to do it for 48 minutes on a more consistent basis to me. So, I think at a certain point, you kind of have to stop worrying about your opponent and the situation, and you go in there and it's about execution, game plan, doing what you do well.
Talking with Kayte Christensen here on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Kayte, how about Keegan? Dave and I were talking about Keegan before. We mentioned defense, and he seems like such a low maintenance player. You ask him to do what you need to offensively. His head's always in the game. He's so under control. And then defensively, he has had to guard everybody's best player. And sometimes that's the point guard to the 4. What's the value in what Keegan brings to this team nightly defensively for Mike Brown?
Gosh, he has been so impressive. I'm still trying to fully wrap my head around it, because the difference between year one as a rookie and his sophomore campaign is night and day. And that's not to say he was a bad defender last year. I think it was just an adjustment phase for him. And I asked De'Aaron Fox after the Dallas game about his defense, and he made a really valid point of saying, in college, Keegan kind of guarded centers. He guarded the bigs. And so to come to the NBA and have it be where you're guarding perimeter players that are the best athletes in the world, it's an adjustment. It's a lot to ask a rookie to do. And I really looked to this past offseason where he spent all that time with De'Aaron Fox, and they played one-on-one, and they, he put in that time, and he genuinely wants to be a high level defender. And it's so impressive what he's doing. And just, he's very intelligent. He sees the game well. He anticipates well. He's drawing charges now, which, I challenge you all, whenever a player on the Kings draws a charge, please immediately look to Mike Brown's reaction on the bench. It is jumping up and down, so excited. That to me, drawing a charge defensively is one of the best indicators of how good of a defender you are. And Trey Lyles actually does a really good job of it, because it's anticipation, it's knowing the game plan, it's the willingness to sacrifice your body, being there for your teammates at the time that you're supposed to be there in the spot you're supposed to be. So Keegan's defense has been so impressive, and that to me is why he had kind of a slow start offensively to the start of the year. You expend a ton of energy, and De'Aaron also is he doesn't get tired. He's like a robot. Well, to play at the level he's playing on both ends of the floor, you have to be a robot a little bit, because it takes a high level of conditioning and just, having your body ready to withstand 82 games at that level.
We'll ask you the same question we talked about earlier, Kayte. If you have a choice between Keegan playing at a 10 level on defense and a 5 on offense, or a 10 on offense and a 5 on defense, which do you think is better for the team?
I think a 10 on defense, because I think he's that good of a defensive player, and he's impactful, and he can change the game from a defensive standpoint. And, when you look at all the other weapons that the Kings have offensively, I would rather defer there. But, to be honest, he's one of the Kings' best defenders. like without a doubt.
Katie, this next week, I guess it's 8 days, can be really awkward time for everybody because it looks like this group likes each other. They've built something pretty special here. Things could change dramatically with trades or multiple trades or nothing over the next 8 days.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got a read on. They don't know that either. But I mean, they seem close. It's like you said, you've been in this. It's a weird spot right now because things are good and they could stay good, but they could also make some moves here. Do you get any sense of anticipation, I guess, from the guys not knowing their certainty over the next 7 to 8 days?
Nothing at all.
That's good.
Nothing. I mean, it's like it's business as usual. It's not anything that I've gotten a sense that guys are worried about, or even, like some guys leading up to the deadline, they kind of push a little bit harder. They're trying to either prove their worth to stay, or they're trying to prove their worth for, okay, if someone's going to pick me up, I want to show them kind of what I can offer, that type of thing. I'm not getting that at all. And that's kind of what I love about this team is the style of their offense, the personalities on the team, and the way that the coaching staff has kind of led them, if you will. It's really about the team. They're very, very focused on what they do, their system. You don't see a lot of ISO. You don't see a lot of guys pushing too hard, doing things that they shouldn't do. I mean, it's basketball. It's going to happen where guys are going to, take a shot that they probably shouldn't have taken, but it's such a low percentage on this team because they're constantly looking to get the next guy involved, make the better pass, get the more open look. So to me, yes, it's a stressful time in the league, but I haven't gotten a sense from the team overall with how they're playing or being around them that it's an issue.
Well, Jason and I were just talking a couple days ago and saying, on this winning streak that you can make a pretty good argument that the three guys that have stepped their game up the most compared to where it was are in no particular order: Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, and Davion Mitchell have both really kind of excelled. And Kevin Huerter, I understand, is arguable because he's been doing a lot of other things, but those are the three guys that we agreed on that have kind of increased their play quite a bit over these last 4 games. So just kind of to your point, those are also the 3 players that have been most involved in trade talks. So from a statistical point of view, is there any credibility to thinking that either one or more of those 3 are either playing higher level to stay in Sacramento or playing a higher level to leave Sacramento? Either way, that it's a fact. It seems not coincidental that this is happening a week before the trade deadline.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I understand the question. I really do. I just, I hate it. And I'll explain. And this is not because it's you and I butt heads with you more than anybody else. But in my playing days, never, ever, ever did it enter my mind around that time, and to my knowledge, any of my teammates' minds, that that's what you're playing for. Right? Like if that is such an individual approach to the game. And I just, I talked and I know I've heard and I've, worked with people, like I get it. Like, you see Davion come in and he hasn't come in a while. And it's like, ooh, are they trying to showcase him? Or Harrison Barnes, they're calling more plays for him. Are they trying to showcase him? Like I talked to Jay Triano offensively about Harrison and what was going on over that 3-game stretch. And I asked him, you guys are a team that doesn't really call a lot of plays. You'll call a handful, but the rest of it is free flowing. You allow the freedom to make the right play, to make plays for others. I said, what has been going on recently with Harrison? He said, well, we decided that we needed to get Harrison a little bit more involved in the offense early on, because every single night he's going to have probably the weakest defender on him. And that's something that we haven't done a good job of trying to isolate early on and get him going early on with a defender that is probably the weakest defender on the floor. And he said, we also felt like he was getting a little passive offensively. So that's another reason you go to him early on. so that you're kind of from the frame of mind from the beginning of the game is you're looking for him to be more aggressive offensively. I don't in any way, shape, or form feel like that's like, oh, you know what? I don't believe that, this front office comes down and says, hey, these are the guys we're trying to move. I need you to make them look good. It's about winning games, and it's about doing what you think you need to do to have an advantage in each and every game. And so I just do not subscribe to that theory.
So it's coincidental. I mean, honestly, I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying, so yeah. You think it's, and are probably right, that it's just a coincidental thing, and guys like me are looking too much into it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's fair.
How about
doesn't mean
go ahead.
Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Sure. But I just
you're with the team every day. That's why we have you on. You're with the team every day. You play. Yeah. You're we goof around, but look, I'm the fat guy in the studio. You're the one that played, and you're the one that's with the team. And I don't expect you to come on the show and be like, maybe with Kevin Huerter, he's trying to play his way out of, of course you're not going to say that, but if you say that,
and like with Kevin, we know how important he is to the success of this team. He 100%. Had a rough spot earlier in the year, but look at what he did last year. Look how important he was last year. He's playing incredibly at a high level right now. And to me, the biggest difference with Kevin over the last maybe month, if you will, 3 weeks, his defense has been like really good.
Yeah.
Like he's playing his best defense right now. And then Davion, like we've seen kind of the weird rotation with him. And Mike is so good about trying to like, okay, I haven't maybe gone to you for 5 games, but I'm going to go to you tonight because I still want you to stay ready. I still want you to stay involved, and I'm going to give you another opportunity to have playing time. Right? If he puts him in for 5 minutes and it doesn't go well, he's not going to go back to him. But if Davion steps up and plays well, which he has, he's knocked down threes defensively. He does what Davion does, but where he's giving you something at both ends of the floor, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a try in the next game. That to me, from being around Mike now for 2 seasons, that's his approach to things.
Yeah. Kayte, one last thing for me. I hope fans really appreciate what Domantas Sabonis has been doing, but specifically the last game. I mean, there's 39 years of basketball in Sacramento, and nobody in a game has had more rebounds than him in one. I mean, Weber did it in an overtime game, so he matches C-Web. 26 rebounds is ridiculous. I mean, that's just – I know he got acknowledged for it and all that, but I just hope people appreciate what he's doing and what he does every single night for this team. Yeah,
I really hope so, too. I mean, and I hope that coaches around the league appreciate it. I look at De'Aaron and Domas right now, and it's like, what is De'Aaron? I haven't looked at the updated numbers yet this morning, but I mean, I believe going into that game in Memphis, he was like 6th in the league in scoring, and like he's in like the top 10 in so many categories statistically in the NBA. And we're sitting here going like, wow, is Domas and De'Aaron going to make an all-star team this year? Like, Domas leads the league in rebounding, like his point scoring. Every single number is even higher this year than it was last year when he was named to the team. And so I'm sitting here going like, I will be honest, like he is so good and so consistent and just gets better as the season goes along. I think people take it for granted because it's so, and not in like a negative way. I mean, I think it's one of those things, we're so accustomed to how great he is that there are times, in the first half, I'll look down at the stat monitor and be like, what? He has 15 rebounds already?
Yeah.
Like,
what do you have,
16
the other double in the first half?
Yeah, it's like a double in the first half, but not just a double. Like, you have 15, 17 boards. Like, what in the world, And so his game is so team-oriented. It's one of those things where he doesn't make anything about himself. He works so hard on every possession. I never have seen him take a playoff on either. I mean, it's just he tries. He gives everything every possession. And to me, I think guys like that aren't super flashy, that kind of do the dirty work, do the little things, are super unselfish. I feel like we as fans watching don't understand just how amazing they are because they don't make anything about themselves, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I think Domas is he just gets better and better. And every game, I'm like, holy cow. And as the double-double streak continues, I think it's at 27 or 28, by far the most in the league. It's his, personal record. He's climbing up the ranks of all-time records in terms of double-double streaks in the NBA. I mean, it's just the absurdity of how good he is and just how little credit he gets for it. It just blows my mind.
That's Kayte Christensen. She emailed me last night. I actually have, in addition to prep for today, her schedule for the rest of the day.
I did not.
There will be some a bath, some needlepoint, perhaps a nice bowl of oatmeal, and some reading. Are
you some kind of like weird chauvinist that because I'm 3,000 miles away, you feel safe that you're not going to get smacked in the face?
How is that? How is that being a chauvinist?
Wait a minute. A bath. I'm going to do some needlepoint.
Needlepoint.
I know how to do needlepoint.
But when was the last time you did it?
When I was like 8 with my mom.
Okay.
I think you're the chauvinist for thinking needlepoint is sex specific. I think anyone can have fun doing needlepoint.
All right.
I know. Hey, by the way, I know how to crochet too.
Hook rug?
Oh my God.
No, but I do know how to crochet. Okay. All right, Katie. We'll have fun with your exciting things later today. Have a great call.
We like game and game prep and the actual basketball game and work. I will. I'll have a blast.
You're a mile a minute. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.
Basically, like, you're a chauvinist for talking crap when you know I'm not going to slap you. Like, what?
She will.
You can't throw that chauvinism stuff around. I'm offended. I spilled my coffee. Thanks to Katie. We'll take a break. A meal coming up at 9 a.m. When we come back, though. Did I get you? Oh,